Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star 2, Land of Origin based on novel. So let's start. The ancient Huyang city, after battles between two pinnacle of primal chaos realm, finally regained its peace. What a pity for my weapon, the bit of cosmic sand I had accumulated was all taken away. Being alive is good enough. Let's hurry up and leave. That night, a large number of eternal true gods of void space, and true gods from the Heart Shadow sect were freed. The eternal true gods of the sect, many of whom were carrying large mechanical treasures and relics of the sect, now had them all confiscated, leaving not even a single weapon behind. The true gods of void space, the disciples on the level of true gods, were not troubled though. With no Heart Shadow sect, Marquis Liu Yin and the two ancient ones don't care about us. Where do we go now? With our strength, where can't we go? Huyang City is on the border of two countries. Who knows if it will start up again? I'd rather go to an ordinary city. Brother Yufang, let us go together. The eternal true gods were still quite confident. Having once been disciples of a great sect, even without weapons or treasures, their mastery of secret techniques was profound, and many began leaving Huyang City for surrounding cities. Great Saint Luo, he hates evil like an enemy, dislikes dark forces. His Huyang City is still suitable for living. Some eternal true gods also had families, and did not wish to keep wandering. Many of the true gods of void space and lesser true gods from the Heart Shadow sect, being weaker, preferred not to travel far, and chose to settle in Huyang City. Our treasures, Great Saint Luo, he did not take them away, he is very merciful. These true gods of void space, and true gods held a favorable view of Luo Feng. The novel, IA.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Over 80% of the eternal true gods released from the Heart Shadow sect left, but the majority of the middle and lower tiers stayed in Huyang City, determined to settle down there. This substantially increased the number of powerful individuals in Huyang City. Huyang City will be lively from now on. From the walls of the city owner's mansion, Luo Feng looked out over the peaceful city beneath the night sky, now his own city. Master. Morosa appeared beside him. All the treasures of the Heart Shadow sect have been sealed, all personally overseen by me, and have been completely tallied. How are they? Luo Feng asked. Right here. Morosa handed over an ink jade bottle to Luo Feng. All treasures and assets are inside. Luo Feng took it and inspected it. The wealth of the Heart Shadow sect was stored in the Flame Wind Association's Dark Hall, managed by two pinnacle of primal chaos realm individuals. Normally, only through the application of the master of the Heart Shadow sect would the two pinnacle of primal chaos realm release some amount. Morosa said, what we were able to seize were just some of the tangible assets of the Heart Shadow sect. Luo Feng wasn't surprised. With two pinnacle of primal chaos realm individuals present, the truly core treasures of the Heart Shadow sect were definitely hidden by those two. The assets we seized belonged to thousands of eternal true gods from the Heart Shadow sect, probably including those they plundered from all over Huyang City. Now mixed together, making them hard to identify, totaling more than 2.9 billion cosmic sand, and also about 3.7 billion cosmic sand worth of weapons and treasures, including the warship from the Flame Wind ancient country, sect protecting treasures, many large treasures, etc. All have been accounted for in the estimates. Luo Feng nodded, totaling over 6 billion cosmic sand. Perhaps any of the two pinnacle of primal chaos realm ancestors from the Heart Shadow sect would have accumulations surpassing these. Like Marquis Liu Yin, a single weapon was worth 50 billion. The amount they use on their own cultivation was likely much more. Their sect's heritage, not to mention the weaker inheritances, in total there are 122 types of primal chaos realm inheritances, 5 types at the godly king level. But these 5 godly king level inheritances only have parts up to the primal chaos realm. Morosa said, according to interrogations, the subsequent parts, beyond the primal chaos realm, are in the hands of the 2 from the Heart Shadow sect. Luo Feng had already discovered 5 godly king level inheritances inside the Moyu bottle, pervaded by divine power. He examined them. All stopped abruptly at the primal chaos realm. The subsequent parts? Not at all. Getting a suitable godly king level inheritance for oneself really isn't easy. Luo Feng sighed internally. Any power tightly controls their inheritances. Wanting a top-notch inheritance? There's a price to pay. Considering becoming a guest elder for the flame-wind ancient country sounds splendid. But he could guess with his eyes closed, acquiring any inheritance comes at a cost. Becoming a guest elder, at least there would be opportunities to contend for resources, to battle for inheritances. Luo Feng understood this. Without being a guest elder, he wouldn't even have a chance. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. That night, the original ruling class of Huyang City, the 5 great families, most of their descendants were very unwilling, because the owner of the city had become Great Saint Luo He. Their days of eating and drinking in luxury were over. Flame Wind Pavilion has already arranged for flying boats. They will escort the family away. Everyone prepare quickly. Many of the Meiwu clan's descendants were not willing, but the operational order of the upper levels of Yu Kingdom was determined by godly kings and those in the primal chaos realm. The local Lord Marquis Zhu Jiang voluntarily gave Huyang City to Luo He. The monarch of Yu country too was pleased to see this scene unfold. These major family branches didn't even have the right to object. How is the ancestral land arranging for us? Are they sending us to other large cities? There are only so many large cities in Yu Kingdom, no chance of being settled elsewhere, only to go back to our ancestral land. Go back to our ancestral land, and abide by the arrangements. Before, as the ruling family, many family members held important positions in Huyang City. Even those without any position received quite a bit of primal chaos crystal every cycle. Now all these were gone. Flame Wind Pavilion arranged flying boats, and that night they escorted the 5 great families away. Father, Mo Li Meng looked at his father, Mo Li Xiao. From now on, follow the city lord closely. Mo Li Xiao smiled and said, if possible, I even want to follow the city lord. But I have my duties, and with the orders from the royal capital, I can only comply. In the previous Huyang City, the Lord of Huyang City managed many affairs, and Mo Li Xiao handled the military matters. Both of them were truly getting things done. When the Yu Kingdom's capital withdrew its administration layer, they completely empowered Luo Feng. They also transferred Mo Li Xiao and others, as Mo Li Xiao was not one of those disposable members of the families. He was of significant use. I am taking most of the family heirs with me, leaving only a few for you to take care of, Mo Li Xiao instructed. Don't worry, father, Mo Li Meng nodded. His father had also left him with 3 family eternal true gods as assistants. Mo Li Xiao nodded with a smile. This time, it was Luo Feng himself who spoke up, inviting Mo Li Meng to stay. Mo Li Meng had previously managed many affairs within the city, and was very familiar with, and capable of, managing a city. As for Mo Li Xiao, Luo Feng wasn't so concerned about him. Because the future Huyang City didn't need the military deterrence. City owner's mansion. Luo Feng looked at Mo Li Meng and Mo Yu who before him and smiled. From now on, you two will be the deputy city lords of Huyang City. You can discuss and solve many of the major and minor affairs, and if you can't solve them, then report back to me. Yes, City Lord, both Mo Li Meng and Mo Yu who were exhilarated. In the previous Huyang City, it was the leaders of the 5 great families who jointly managed affairs. Mo Li Meng had never had as much power as he did now. And now, he was following someone from the pinnacle of primal chaos realm. Mo Li Meng very clearly saw the great opportunity he had encountered. Mo Yu, who was even more excited. Previously serving under Mo Li Meng, he was also very familiar with many of the city's administration affairs. I never thought that I, Mo Yu, would actually become a deputy city lord of Huyang. Mo Yu, who felt that the day he encountered City Lord Luo He in the wilderness was truly a turning point in his fate. Luo Feng nodded. Managing a city was not something he had the energy for, but he also wouldn't just trust one side. I'll state 2 new rules for the future, Luo Feng said. Mo Li Meng and Mo Yu, who immediately listened attentively. First, the future Huyang city will have no dark forces, Luo Feng stated. Both Mo Li Meng and Mo Yu, who were familiar with city affairs, and they both realized the impact of this rule. Many ordinary businesses almost had their profits taken by dark forces, sometimes struggling and still ending up at a loss. Without the dark forces, the commerce in Huyang City would definitely flourish. For cultivators wanting to settle down, the attractiveness would also greatly increase. Second, the future Huyang City will not need the Huyang Legion, Luo Feng continued. The Huyang Guards will stay and are responsible for maintaining order within the city. The Huyang Legion was used to deter enemies and to handle some powerful adversaries. In one's own city, a legion was not needed. These are the main 2 rules. For other detailed management plans, you 2 first discuss them and then submit them to me, Luo Feng said. My requirement is that the administration of the city owner's mansion is as streamlined as possible. Yes, both Mo Li Meng and Mo Yu who responded. City Lord, with the recent war, there has been a minor loss of citizens in the entire Huyang, and currently there should be around 500 billion citizens, Mo Li Meng reported. Every epoch, the residence fee collected amounts to about 50 million cosmic san. The income from the primal chaos ruins each epoch is about 6 million cosmic sand. 20% of the residence fee is remitted to the royal capital, and the rest is needed to maintain the entire city's operation. What can be presented to the city lord should be around 30 million cosmic sand per epoch, Mo Li Meng explained. Luo Feng understood. It might seem not very much, but this income was consistent every epoch. Over 1,000 epochs, that would be a total of 30 billion cosmic sand. Of course, in normal realms of the primal chaos, the long years would breed a large number of races, and the cumulative costs of cultivating a massive number of races would be substantial. His own family, all in the primordial cosmos region, generally had very little power, and most of the family members couldn't even become immortal. In the land of origin, clans from major families began as true gods. When totaled, a large number of true gods of void space, and even over 1,000 eternal true gods were common, and the expenditures for each era were immense. Even the imperial clan of the Flame Wind ancient country doesn't dare to openly provide resources, but still requires the offspring of the clan to compete for them, Luo Feng secretly lamented. Saw the Notefire.et website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Perhaps some ancient beings, in order to rid themselves of the burdens of their vast clans, deliberately chose to reincarnate. Sometimes, when a family proliferates to a certain extent, it instead becomes a burden to some ancient beings. City Lord, Mo Yu who respectfully said, some cultivators, who have joined the city owner's mansion, also want to receive some cultivation inheritance. As long as they have enough merit points, they will have the opportunity to exchange for the inheritance, Luo Feng nodded. Why do cultivators follow the powerful? The key reason is the inheritance. Without inheritance, relying on oneself to explore, the difficulty increases by 100-fold or 1,000-fold. You all may leave now, and quickly organize the management plan for Huyang City, Luo Feng instructed. Yes, the 2 deputy city lords responded with ambition and respectfully withdrew. Morosa had been there all this time, and only now spoke. Master, the Moli Meng family has several eternal true gods, and there are also familiar eternal true gods like Gao Wu Shui, who have taken refuge with them. Their side holds a strong power. Mo Yu Hu is relatively weaker by much. You are mistaken, the Zhu clan has mostly returned tonight, and at this moment, they are together with Mo Yu Lai Feng. Luo Feng smiled and said, after all, Mo Yu Lai Feng is the direct disciple of Zhu Yu. With their master-disciple relationship, the Zhu clan was the first to take refuge with the Mo Yu family. Morosa then understood. Luo Feng, even though he greatly trusted Mo Yu Hu and Moli Meng, still made them constrain each other. Huyang City gradually gained a new order. The eternal true gods and true gods of the void space, originally plundered by the Heart Shadow sect, were surprised to find that the dark forces had completely disappeared. And their fixed assets were also distributed back to them by the city owner's mansion. Life will be easier from now on, many ordinary merchants felt immensely relieved. The Black Butcher, initially dependent on Luo Feng, rid themselves of much extortion and blackmail. And now, the entire Huyang city, merchants no longer worried about the dark forces, and commerce was even more prosperous than before. Huyang city has become better than before. Gao Wu Shui, leading a squad of Huyang guards, looked upon the bustling city and smiled. With the pinnacle of primal chaos realm situated here, more and more ordinary true gods are coming to Huyang city. At another location at the moment, Luo Feng, with a servant and a disciple, had already met up with Emperor Chu Yu and his party. It seems your two deputy city lords are managing Huyang city quite well. Emperor Chu Yu smiled and said, whether Huyang city can become even better depends on Brother Luo his strength. The more powerful you become, the more prosperous this city will become. Luo Feng, looking at the city, smiled and said, it will definitely become more prosperous. Let's go. Immediately, Emperor Chu Yu used a space-time treasure to connect to the distant flame-wind ancient country. Whoosh tilde 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 tilde. In front of them, the void twisted, and a space-time passage appeared. Emperor Chu Yu, along with the deputy pavilion master, and Luo Feng with Morosa, and Mo Yu Qingyang, the five of them flew into the space-time passage together. End of this volume. Upon arriving in the land of origin, Luo Feng's first stop was Huyang City. Now that the Huyang City arc has concluded, Luo Feng, after becoming a pinnacle of primal chaos realm, will officially embark on the next major storyline. Tomato will take a break tomorrow to prepare well for the upcoming storyline, and will update the third chapter the day after tomorrow. Flame Wind Ancient Country, Chu Capital, outside the East City Gate. At this moment, a host of elite troops respectfully awaited outside the East City Gate, along with numerous large ships and flying boats stationed in the vicinity, all eagerly anticipating the arrival. I heard that the newly promoted Marquis Chu Yu was directly appointed as a first-rank Marquis. On one of the flying boats, a group of imperial clansmen and royal descendants gathered together, also waiting. Marquis Chu Yu, wholly devoted to the law lineage, also commands the unlimited godly bodies. With the natural talent and potential of the unlimited godly bodies, it's natural that he was made a first-rank Marquis as soon as he broke through. A member of the imperial clansmen said with uncontainable pride. Uncle Chu Yu once gave me guidance. Possessing the unlimited godly bodies, his status within the clan was always special. Now that he has broken through to the primal chaos realm, he has immediately become a core member of Emperor Chu's lineage. All these imperial clansmen belong to the Emperor Chu's lineage and now shared in this honor. Impressive. Marquis Chu Yu is truly remarkable. The royal descendants, on the other hand, were busy singing his praises. In the very heart of the Flame Wind ancient country were the 13 branches of the imperial family, with other royal families substantially inferior in status. As for families at the primal chaos realm, Unless they gave birth to a being who achieved transcendence of the primal chaos realm, such families were quite mediocre, unable to mingle in the circles of the imperial and royal families. On another luxuriously large ship, two figures were drinking together, served by maidservants at their sides. A first-rank marquis is truly different, endowed with a first-rank marquis mansion, granted royal guards. Even his fief is of first-class large city. A rather plump man exclaimed, he is even offered 2 guest elder positions. And us? We third-rank marquises have our fiefdoms as small cities, smaller cave mansions, bestowed with some royal guards. We don't even qualify to apply for the position of a guest elder, the plump man grumbled. The tall woman sitting beside him laughed heartily. We follow the bloodline cultivation system and ascend to the primal chaos realm with the help of our bloodlines. Thereafter, we must transition to cultivating the law lineage. The laws are too difficult for us. In this life, I only hope to advance further to become a second-rank marquis. As for a first-rank marquis, I dare not even dream of it. You still have hope. At least you currently possess middle layer of the primal chaos realm strength. And I, the plump man pointed to himself, among the 29 marquises from Emperor Chu's lineage including Marquis Chu Yu, only 2 are of ordinary primal chaos realm strength, and I am one of them. I have been at the primal chaos realm for more than 3 millennia, still only ordinary primal chaos realm. Far too much behind the top echelons of the primal chaos realm. While these 2 marquises were chatting, they suddenly noticed the distant spacetime ripping apart, forming a spacetime passageway. Here they come. The 2 marquises perked up energetically. At this moment, other marquises, imperial clansmen and royal descendants, royal guard army, and so on, all turned their attention toward the spacetime passage in the distance. From within the spacetime passage, a total of 5 figures flew out. Emperor Chu Yu was leading the deputy pavilion master, while Luo Feng was accompanied by Morosa and Moyu Qingyang. The man beside Marquis Chu Yu. He walks side by side with Marquis Chu Yu, obviously holding him in high esteem. All parties took notice of Luo Feng in black attire. He is none other than the great Saint Luo He from Yu Kingdom. Some well-informed marquises and imperial clansmen had already learned of the strong figures of the land of origin, and upon seeing Luo Feng, they immediately confirmed his identity. This great Saint Luo He, in the battle at Huyang City, even overpowered Marquis Liu Yin. His cultivation of the physical body has reached an inconceivably advanced stage, capable of stepping on the ground while his head touches the stars. This is an entity at the pinnacle of the primal chaos realm. And his with Marquis Chu Yu. Could it be that the first guest elder Marquis Chu Yu chose was him? Luo Feng and Emperor Chu Yu used the spacetime passageway to travel directly from Huyang City in Yu Kingdom to the flame-wind ancient country's Chu capital. This made Luo Feng quite reflective. Spacetime transport is indeed profoundly mysterious. I too must rely on spacetime treasures to perform spacetime transport. The primal chaos realm, almost none can transport through spacetime by themselves. All rely on treasures. A treasure that can be used for long-term spacetime transport is too valuable. Luo Feng possessed a one-time use command token, which would be destroyed after use. A spacetime transport command token could only be activated by someone at the primal chaos realm level, selling for 100 million cosmic sand. Even for those at the primal chaos realm, it would be used only in critical moments. Emerging from the spacetime passageway, Luo Feng's gaze fell upon the troops outside the majestic city's east gate and the many ships and flying boats that had come to welcome them. Our respects to Marquis. The army cried out in unison, saluting with respect. Emperor Chu Yu watched this scene and smiled faintly, speaking to Luo Feng at his side. This is the Royal Guard army bestowed upon me after becoming a primal chaos realm cultivator. These are elite troops cultivated by our Emperor Chu's lineage. Luo Feng observed the royal guard army, consisting of 1,000 eternal true gods, and a massive number of true gods of void space. Even outside the city, under the command of their battalion commander, they were naturally as one, far more imposing than the army of Marquis Zhu Jiang, or Heart Shadow Sect's forces. In the flame-wind ancient country, this elite royal guard army would be capable of sweeping through the forces of the Heart Shadow Sect and Zhu Jiang's army arrays. Father! Father! In front of the army array, a majestic woman with 3 young men excitedly looked at Emperor Chu Yu. Their father had been wandering and cultivating abroad, and had unexpectedly become a primal chaos realm cultivator, and even a first-rank marquis. This was wealth descending from the heavens. Whoosh! Emperor Chu Yu, accompanied by Luo Feng and the others, approached the army array and glanced at the 3 young men, feeling somewhat vexed. Chu Yu, upon hearing the news of your being ennobled, I immediately rushed back from Wind Leaf City with the 3 children. The majestic woman spoke. Father, the news of you becoming a first-rank marquis has spread throughout the entire Chu capital city. There are only 7 first-rank marquises in total within our Emperor Chu's lineage, and father is now one of them. The 3 sons were thrilled. Emperor Chu Yu nodded and then introduced Luo Feng beside him. This is my dear friend Great Saint Luo He. When you see him, show the same respect as you would for me, without the slightest disrespect. We pay our respects to uncle. The 3 young men immediately saluted deferentially, realizing that this man must be a powerful ally invited by their father. Pleased to meet you, Great Saint Luo He. The majestic woman also greeted politely. Madam, you are too kind, Luo Feng said with a smile. He could tell that the relationship between Emperor Chu Yu and this lady must be quite ordinary, even after such a long time apart. There wasn't a trace of closeness when they met again. Emperor Chu Yu, on the other hand, walked over to an old servant next to the 3 children and was quite affectionate. Marquis, the old servant said with an emotional expression. Elder Zheng, it's been a long time. Emperor Chu Yu looked at the old servant, who was merely a true god of void space level. The old servant has finally seen your highness become a marquis, and a first-rank marquis at that, Elder Zheng said with great excitement. This old servant was left behind by Emperor Chu Yu's mother, and had been following and taking care of him since he was at his weakest. Known as a servant, he was in fact as close as kin. While they were gathering as a family. Chu Yu. Brother Chu Yu. The various marquises of Emperor Chu's lineage made their appearance. Emperor Chu Yu looked up and saw several marquises of considerable status within the family, coming to meet him with great enthusiasm. Luo Feng merely watched everything unfold. Before coming to the flame-wind ancient country, Emperor Chu Yu had given him detailed information on the truly top powerhouses of the land of origin, including detailed records of everyone in the primal chaos realm within the flame-wind ancient country. Luo Feng compared them one by one. Emperor Chu's lineage has a total of 29 titled marquises in the flame-wind ancient country, and today 7 came to meet Emperor Chu Yu. Of these 7, 5 are third-rank marquises and 2 are second-rank marquises. Luo Feng instantly identified them. As for the first-rank marquises whose status was equivalent to Emperor Chu Yu's, not a single one showed up. Saw the novel, F.I.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. It is said that the competition is fierce within the royal family, and the first-rank marquises are direct competitors with each other. Luo Feng understood this point. As for so-called third-rank marquises, the royal family has given up on them to some extent, providing only the most basic resources and nothing more. Second-rank marquises, on the other hand, receive many more resources. Only first-rank marquises could access the true core resources of the land of origin. They too must engage in brutal competition with each other. As a guest elder, the threshold to obtain resources is much higher than that of a first-rank marquis. Luo Feng was clear on this point. The Flame-Wind ancient country focuses on cultivating their own first-rank marquises of the royal family, who are the absolute elite. And the guest elders. Their relationship is more of an exchange. Guest elders serve the ancient country, earning merit points in exchange for some resources. Therefore, the resources they obtain are naturally far less than those of a first-rank marquis. After handling many marquises, Emperor Chu Yu finally took Luo Feng aboard the large ship. On the ship, the lady and the 3 children went to the back, while Emperor Chu Yu and Luo Feng sat in the front hall, gazing ahead at the East City Gate. The ones who came to meet us are all second-rank marquises and third-rank marquises, explained Emperor Chu Yu. There are 3 godly kings in Emperor Chu's lineage. These kings, lofty and high above, naturally do not deal with trivial matters. Many affairs are handled and decided by us first-rank marquises. So they are also here to curry favor with you, Luo Feng understood. The first-rank marquises of the royal family are either at the pinnacle of primal chaos realm, with unlimited godly bodies, or have primal chaos realm pinnacle strength. Meeting either condition qualifies one to be a first-rank marquis. Of course, these are the requirements for the imperial clansmen. For cultivators like Luo Feng, who are independent, becoming a guest elder is a complicated matter. I've already applied for you to become a guest elder, Emperor Chu Yu said with a smile. Under normal circumstances, it should be approved. What circumstances would lead to it not being approved? Luo Feng asked. 1. If the power isn't sufficient. 2. If there's a problem with identity, Emperor Chu Yu said with a smile. You have primal chaos realm pinnacle strength, so power is certainly sufficient. As for identity, your identity definitely won't be a problem. The large ship flew over the vast East City Gate of Chu capital, and the royal guards also entered. How can you be sure that my identity won't be a problem? Luo Feng wondered. Our Flame-Wind ancient country doesn't care much about the origins of its guest elders when recruiting them, regardless of whether they are sinners of the worst kind, possess incredibly strong destinies, or even if they are entangled with many horrific karmic ties. Flame-Wind ancient country doesn't care about any of that. We only need to verify one thing, that you are not from an alien race, Emperor Chu Yu explained. Alien race? Luo Feng asked. That would be any life from outside the braided cage, said Emperor Chu Yu. Our Flame-Wind ancient country's heritage resources can be passed on to any living being within the braided cage. But never to an alien race. Luo Feng was inwardly shocked. Alien race. By entering Chu capital, it means that you are alive from within the braided cage, Emperor Chu Yu explained. This Chu capital city was personally refined by the ancestor of our Flame-Wind ancient country, as a congratulatory gift for the emperor. Any alien life that enters this city will be discovered. Luo Feng marveled. The most mysterious and fearsome being in the Flame-Wind ancient country was that ancestor Yang Feng, followed by the 13 emperors. Emperor Chu Yu suddenly smiled. Now that you've entered the city and it's confirmed that you have no issues with your identity, your application to be a guest elder has already been approved. You are now officially a guest elder of Emperor Chu's lineage. Congratulations, Brother Luo He. Luo Feng smiled. Thank you, Brother Chu Yu. This video will end here.